I thought I'm a liar because I was walking in and I'm wearing these Blundstone boots right now, and I have a mustache, and I'm wearing this Levi jacket with like fur, like a Brokeback Mountain sort of jacket, and I'm like, I can barely put gas in my car. Like,
so you think you look manly?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
when I think you look like a gay man's delight.
Sure, because he can do all the manly stuff for him.
No, I don't know if that's it.
Because
like I said, you at the moment look hot.
Here's the thing.
I feel like you've always I think you're a good looking fella.
I think I'd be an okay looking fella if
you just
I lost like 30 pounds.
That's overrated.
Here's the thing. Well, wait. No, I'm overweighted.
Either or, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I feel like you're crushing it, Josh Creedon.
Oh right, sure.
Yeah. You're crushing bar stools. You're crushing everything you sit on, dude. Yeah, lose all that weight.
Crushing this. I'm glad this mic is on like a stand that I can lower it, so when this couch collapses, I don't need to get up.
You do look like if Chunk got his act together.
I don't know who Chunk is. So.
Chunk from the Goonies.
I never saw the.
You never saw the Goonies,
dude. I've only accidentally seen The Sandlot because it was like on in the background, and I happened to be watching it. But that was like I've never like let's watch The Sandlot. I've never seen Home Alone. Definitely haven't seen Home Alone 2. Like
they're both pretty good.
Most of that era of movies I just haven't seen. Like kids movie, like Christmas Vacation, or
do you not watch any of them like in the season?
What? No. There's no seasonal movie for me.
Yeah.
If it's raining in San Diego, I'm like, I should watch Star Wars.
Dude.
Well, when I'm in San Diego, obviously, I don't just like check the forecast.
You're like,
it's raining.
Wonder what happened
on
Tuesday.
It's raining in San Diego. I should watch Star Wars here in Denver. No, like at home, if it was raining.
Are you a big enough fan to go see them in the theater when they're released?
Star Wars but films? I'm not rushing.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them at like 10 or 11 a.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah,
with no one else in there.
Dude, that's the time I would like to go to movies.
Yeah, like I went with Ryan Trickey to see the latest Spider-Man, like opening night, 10:45 p.m. And there were so many people. I was like, I just don't see this going well. Like I don't. And you know what? Guess what happened?
You passed out.
I didn't pass out. However, a person 2 seats away from me, as something critical was happening in the movie, and this girl 2 seats over from me is like, like starts like she's choking, and I look over, and then she starts like sliding out of her seat, and I'm like, oh no, and I'm watching the movie because it's an important part of the movie, and I'm looking over, and this girl's dying, and her friend turns to her and is like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like blink or whatever if you can hear me. Well, she was, her mouth was undisposed. She was like, she could not make a noise. And so then her friend gets up, runs to go get somebody. They come walking back in. And at that point, this girl just snaps out of it, sits back up, and is like, no, yeah, I'm totally fine. And I'm like, well, then why did you ruin the movie for me? And then her friend was like, you need to go to the hospital. And she was like, no, I don't want to go. And then they eventually went. But I mean, like, and I wanted to lean over and be like, I'm sorry, if you seize, you need to leave.
Yeah.
That's like, you can't ruin this movie.
I mean, that's what it probably was. She probably has them every
once in a while. She had a seizure, and she probably had like been avoiding going to the hospital because she's scared of the hospital or she can't afford it or whatever. Like probably a lot of like legitimate, reasonable reasons. But I draw the line at you ruining the opening night of Spider-Man.
You're allowed to sneeze, but no seize.
Yeah, you can sneeze. Even if you sneeze, dude. Like Ryan one time, like leaned over to whisper to me. I almost bit his nose off. I'm just like, yeah.
Ryan got I once saw a fist fight in a movie theater.
During a movie?
During a movie. I don't even remember what movie, obviously, because there was a fucking fist fight that happened.
Dude, what movie inspired such shit? You're like, it was Zootopia.
No, it was like...
the racial messages got people upset.
It was a discount theater that...
That's not surprising.
In this Lewiston, Idaho. Discount theater. It was like Wednesday nights, Thursday nights. You could go see a movie for $1.
$2?
Yeah, whatever it was.
That's sweet.
And so it was like the movies between DVD and like when they were actually in the theater.
Sure.
Anywho, it was from like a distance. There was one seat in this weird theater that I just sat at by myself because it wasn't by anyone else. And I was like, I'm taking this. This is dope.
100%.
anyways, it was from a distance. These two guys got real angry, and
Did they keep it down?
no, no, they swung at each other a few times, and then they went outside of the theater, and only one came back.
What are they like fighting? And then one of the guys is like, hold on. Yeah. We gotta go out there. And the guy's like, you're right, I'm sorry.
No one else was involved because they just didn't want to be punched in the face at the same time as someone else.
Of course not. Yeah. While you're watching, you leave a movie with a black eye.
Dude, that guy didn't come back into the movie.
One of them did come back.
No, yeah. They fought in the parking lot. I'm pretty sure one of them came back.
That's pretty.
He's like, if you come back in the fucking theater.
Dude, that's hilarious. That's kind of funny.
That's Austin. Lewiston, Idaho for you. Sorry.
No, you're good. Did you want intro music?
Let's do it.
We're well past. Oh, yeah. We're doing it.
We're in it. We're in it.
We're in it.
We're in it.
Oh, that's fun.
Austin has his own.
Come in, we're open. All right.
You should have played this while you were talking about how
Make sure you listen to us on Sunday nights when you're feeling yourself.
I would have been way more sexual. You're looking hot right now. Start that music.
Hey, I did open up with just giving Josh compliments. Doesn't he not look hot?
Come in. I'm open.
You look. Come in. I'm open. Today.
Well, I'm reserved.
Today, when Come In, We're Open, we are joined by a very genuine and I think honest human being. He was trying to tell me that he was a liar, but I didn't believe it. But he's a very genuine person. He's very honest. I feel like he lives his true self, but very drastically different life than I would live. And that today, folks, is Josh.
Give it up for Evan.
Josh Creedon. Josh Creedon. Thanks for coming in, dude.
I think I have lied. I think I can lie. I think I'm a good liar.
Okay.
But I don't think.
Now you're not going to be accepted into heaven. You ruined it all with that one sentence.
Here's the thing. I don't know. That's actually an interesting thing. Is like, can God be upset at you for doing something, but still be like, you did do that pretty well, though?
So he's like, he's in on a good scheme.
Like, I don't condone lying. However, you're pretty good at it.
He's like, what you did was wrong, but you're running a pretty good scheme. The question so I'm going to let you go with it for right now.
Did Judas get any props on any level?
Yeah.
It was Jesus like, he got me.
I didn't even see that coming. I write the universe.
Except he called it out. He literally called it out, and all of his disciples were like, in the top, he was like, who I give this piece of bread to is going to betray me. And then he like hands it to Judas, and all the disciples are like, I wonder who's going to betray him. Yeah. It's like, you guys are so stupid. He just handed it right to the guy who's going to do it. And everyone's like, is it going to be me? It's like, stop being so selfish.
Yeah. See, this is going to make this, makes me feel very unintelligent on the topic that we were talking about, because I have no idea who any of these people are and what they mean to anybody.
Judas betrayed Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bad, archetypal bad dude.
Boo. So that'll lead me into the first plot point that I've put down in this podcast.
Perfect.
And it says Josh Creedon still is one with God. Is that correct?
One with God? I wouldn't use that.
You're still very religious and practicing.
Yes.
On a regular basis.
Yeah, I practice.
You practice. You practice. Okay. What are the things that you feel like a regular practice in religion? Whether it's like praying, no sex, positive thoughts. See, I
don't practice positive thoughts. See, that's for sure.
For sure. I feel like this whole episode is gonna make me sound very uneducated on the topic, and I feel like I'm gonna learn a lot from you.
I like that terminology. I'd rather, because earlier you said unintelligent, and it's like, no, uneducated. Even that is just like, you just don't know. Like I thought about this in high school, and maybe I thought about it in like a douchey way in high school, and maybe I'm thinking about a douchey way now. But like in high school, I went to church like 3 times a week: Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday.
That's a grind.
And it was, dude. It was like stand up. And
I was gonna say that's more mics than some people,
right? Yeah. And then Monday nights, I worked at the church doing like sound for this huge Bible study that happened there. So I was there like basically minimum 4 times a week, or like 3 times a week from like 2 to 18, 4 times a week from like 14 to 18. Like I was there all the time.
Damn.
And our church was like we had like a lot of PhDs, a lot of like doctors in our church, a lot of like people who were super into theology. So you just like all the kids also were super into theology and stuff like that, like in middle school.
Intelligent people.
It wasn't intelligent. It was just, this is the subject everyone geeks out on.
Yeah.
Right. So like in 7th grade, like I knew nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, anything that other kids our age might geek out on. I knew theology mostly. And so like we would talk about that all the time. And then in high school, I was like, damn, this is what, like the amount of information I have about this, just because this is the water I grew up in.
Yeah.
Like it's so crazy because other people know so much more about so many other things that I know nothing about. And I just have all of this information.
Yeah.
And in high school, all I hung out with were like non-Christian, like the AP non-Christian, like stoner kids there too. So it was like, we didn't talk about Christianity ever.
But they were down to hang out.
Sure.
And bullshit, you know.
Yeah, but I was like the only Christian in that group too.
Yeah.
But like just the amount of information I have about it is just because I grew up in it. It's not like it's not like I studied really hard. It's just like I grew up around it, and so you just kind of learn it all.
I feel
Not
like
all
that
of it,
happens
obviously, but
with like even just like skateboarding or other sports where people are able to have conversations that are like in different languages to other people.
100%.
You know, where it's like that whole slang for any slang for tricks or whatever it is is always its own.
Last year I got super into disc golf, and I just learned a ton about disc golf, and then I found myself saying words that like a whole string of words that I never knew. Talking about a certain thing, and it's just like, if that's the water you're in, then you're going to talk that way and like learn that stuff. And that's how I was about.
Well, and I feel like at a young age you are just absorbing, whether you not even like participating in like the homework part or like the doing.
Sure.
You're just like, if I'm there, it's happening, whether it's brainwash or. And I don't feel like that's why I feel like we get along, is I can confidently say we're both good human beings.
Sure.
But come from a totally different past, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know. You have questions that I can answer, and I have like silly questions.
Yeah, anything about sex or drugs. I'll just add, like, I don't know anything about any of that. I mean, I know some stuff. It's all hearsay. None of it's from practice.
And this one might not be one you know, but why does my phone always put God in all caps?
Ooh, that's...
is this one you would know? Is this part of your community?
I would not.
Can you let me know?
That seems like more of a Mormon thing.
Okay.
Personally.
I'm just checking.
I don't know.
Because sometimes when I say thank God, and then it puts it in all caps.
Well, do you yell God a lot when you text? Like, no?
No. I don't know. I'm just wondering if you knew.
No, I don't have insight. I'll pray about it.
Yeah.
I'll get back.
like I said, I thought maybe
him.
everyone in the community knew, or maybe just.
Well,
but that was one of my pinpoints that I wrote down.
Some more conservative Jewish people, they don't even write out the word God. It's G-D or Yahweh with no vowels. So because they don't want to spell out the name even because it's so holy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know.
Do you say damn?
I say damn. I mean,
you say damn?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say cunt. I mean, I don't care.
Well, I know, but why is damn? I mean, I know that damn is such a religious bad word.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, that's like, yeah. I mean, I'm not using it literally, and I don't ever say like damn somebody. It's always like damn, just as if
like just damn it,
just dang. Yeah, and I don't say goddamn. I don't really say oh my god or like take. I don't do that. That's something that I kind of grew up just being like.
Well, I think that's like that's probably one of those things that you didn't even practice, but is in
right. But I mean, I remember, and maybe this sounds lame, but I remember the first time I said crap. I think I was in 8th grade. I think it was in 8th or 9th grade. It's the first time I ever said crap. And I was, and this is going to make me sound even more juvenile. I was on the swings.
Oh, shit.
School. I was on the swings as a 14-year-old.
Was it a rush?
And I said, no, I was like, I caught myself. I was like, whoa, I said that. That's crazy.
You slipped up, dude.
You know, and then I didn't apologize for it. I didn't. Well, because I had a bunch of friends. I've always been trailing in terms of language. Like I didn't like swear ever. And then like my friends started swearing and I was like, no, I'm not going to. And then like, I still don't. I don't know. Maybe it's hard to say about yourself. I don't feel like I swear that often.
You don't.
Or if I do, it's very light. It's not like a...
In my eyes, you're like mostly clean. And I don't feel like you're practicing that in any way besides just you being you. Like I still, no matter what, no matter what your upbringing was with like religion and like just different beliefs than other people, I still feel like you're being your most like true self, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's true. I think that's the problem is like that people think that those two things are, mutually exclusive. Yeah. It's like you either have to be religious or be yourself. And it's like, well, maybe religion is making you, like the view I have of it is like Christianity makes you more who you are, to use like Christian language, like made to be.
Well, and even just practicing the basics, treat everyone the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
I mean, be nice, be a decent human being is like the basic rules. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, those are the basic rules, but I think like it's the sort of rules where it's like, that's cool, you're doing that. And it is important, obviously. I don't want to like diminish being a good person. But at the same time, it's like, why are you doing that? You know, like the why behind it is so critical that like, if there's no why behind it, it's just like, yeah, just be a nice person. It's like, okay, but like for what? Like, who cares? You know, and I like operate on a pretty intense binary where it's like, if this isn't real, then nothing matters. Like I balance in between, like some people, if they're like, oh, you know, they like might lose their faith or like vaguely fade out of it or whatever. But I see it as like, it's either all true or it's all not, you know?
Yeah.
And that is like a really intense.
Do you feel like you are a good person due to religion or due to your morals?
Well, I don't even like using the term good person because I think everyone's bad.
Well,
like,
yeah.
I think everyone sucks.
And that's, like, I mean, and that's true. We all have our flaws, but
sure.
I mean, me saying, Josh Creedon, I think you're a good person. Would you take that? It's because that's what I was raised with as my religion, or would it because that's because my morals, or I'm confident with saying?
Yeah, I mean, I can't separate my morals from how I was raised, right?
Yeah.
And I think like because we live in this society filled with Judeo-Christian values, like kind of everyone has those shared values.
Yeah.
So like when you say like, oh, you're a good person, I think like, well, the first thing I think in my head is like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
But secondly, I think like, okay, what does he mean by good person? He means like, I'm not an overt dick to people. Yeah. And then I think like, okay, why am I not that way? And that it probably is just because like an attempt to like understand other people and like love other people. And I think if you're trying to like understand and love people, then you can't, and obviously there are times when I can be, but like if you're trying to understand and truly like love people, and I think that's based on my religion, is to like love others, right? Like love people as Jesus loved people. And if I'm truly supposed to love people that way, then I have to understand them. And I can't be mad at someone while trying to understand them.
For sure.
Because then it's just like if you ask people questions in like a super upset or angry way, your like window of listening, like your listening skill gets way thinner.
For sure.
You know? But like if you can remain
passion,
calm, right, 100%. If passion overtakes it, then you can't listen, learn, understand, and like love somebody.
For sure.
You know?
I guess my take on like that side of it would just be the way I would put it in my words would be just dealing with other people's flaws.
Oh,
like we all have them,
right?
And just learning to adapt. And if they're like beyond what I want to put up with, I won't invest time, energy, or effort to that person anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Or if it's more draining than it is, I guess I'm still just watching out for myself.
Yeah, I think that's how I operate too. Like very rarely do I engage in a relationship with someone where I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think like that's the hard thing is like I think other people are really good at that. They're like I had a friend in college who was really good friends with this guy, and we were in a group of guy friends, and like we were a group of dudes, and this one dude was like kind of in with us, but kind of not. Like he kind of worked awkwardly with a lot of us.
Yeah.
Except that, and this one guy was just constantly including him. And a lot of us were like, dude, he makes things so awkward. But this guy like loved him so well and was like, yeah, he can be kind of awkward. He can be kind of weird, but let's be inclusive. I very rarely am I that way where I'm trying to include the person who's like really awkward.
Well, and I think as we get older,
because I'm selfish. You know?
And I think as you get older, I think you're like, this is who I going to invest my time with, you know?
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah.
You're like, I don't have to put myself in those situations anymore. Or I'm not calling that person every Saturday to see if they want to hang out.
Right, 100%, Mom. No.
Stay out of my life.
Fine, you don't want to hang out, Mom? I won't call.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's true because you get to a certain age and you're like, I have my people. I don't need to. Yeah. And so then even as you get older and older, your tolerance for who you're willing to meet and like hang out with and learn about goes way down. Like when you're 80, are you trying to like learn a different perspective from people? Like, no. You're like, listen, I'm on my way out the door. Okay, just let me have these next 5 to 7 years in peace. Yeah. Okay, if that. You know?
No. I mean, it is. No one's really trying to meet a new person or pick a new personality to change to.
No.
My favorite thing about you is that you date, I think, more regularly than anyone else I know.
What does that even
like? I think you go on more dates.
Oh, well, that's been on a high. Well, not on a high.
Yeah, but
it
when
hasn't happened recently. But yeah,
when we first met, and that's fine. You got comedy for your future. You don't need
that's what's hot.
Women.
Yeah.
But when we first met, you were going on dates probably 1 or 2 times a week at least.
Well, I was going on dates with particular people for a while, and then I was going on dates with this gal for like a month or just over a month. So like it was the same person. It wasn't like the turnover was high.
Yeah.
It was like the same people.
It just seemed like it were more than most people that I know that are out dating.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
and your hopes and goals into dating someone,
are completely different.
Yeah,
they're completely different
than most humans.
100%. Like when I go on a date with someone, and this is the problem with Christian culture, but also the problem with me in particular. I just see myself doing this, where it's like I say their first name with my last name, and I'm like, that doesn't sound good. Like, that sounds gross, you know.
So you're already committed to
that's the thing. It's not the commitment.
Let's get married.
It's just these are the thoughts that go through your head. Because if you date for the purpose of marriage, it's kind of an elephant in the room where you're just like, well, this is kind of why we're doing that. And so like, it's hard to not think about.
Yeah.
Although like,
do you address that on like a date, like a early date? Or
no, not necessarily. If someone addresses that in an early date, like they might talk about it like ideologically, where they're like, yeah, I mean, I date for marriage. Like I don't date around really.
Yeah.
You know?
But
like,
you inform me that, I mean, the women that you are going out on the date with are well aware of, hey, this is for a future.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's not like, hey, it's not like he's not going on some date with I don't know. You know, it's like it's your kind, you would say.
Well, yeah, we're all the same, like philosophically kind of like aligned to a degree. Like if someone was like, yeah, I don't really want something too serious, you know, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. Like, what does that mean to you? Like, are you chill? Because even if I do, I'm fine burning like 6 months to a year with a gal who's really good. If she's like right now, because I'd be like, well, I love hanging out with you, so let's hang out for a while, you know, like let's date. And then if after like a little bit, I'm like, hey, I kind of want things to get more serious, and she's like, no, then I'd be like, well, let's call it. But like that time frame is way faster than other people.
I had a friend, humans.
I had a friend of mine in Chicago. He told me that he was he told me, he's like, yeah, me and my girlfriend are moving in together, and I was like, dude, that's awesome that you and your girlfriend are getting married. That's so cool. Like that's what I told him, because he knows where I'm at and how conservative I am. So he's like, so it's like that's how we think of it, you know. Super conservative.
It is wild, because what if there was like a woman who really wanted to just take advantage of you?
I don't even know what that means. How would you take it? What, my money?
No.
You want my money? You want to like go to dinner a lot?
No, I'm just saying, like, if you guys went out night on the town, she kept bringing you one too many drinks or whatever, and then she tried to drag you back to her apartment and have her way
in that
with
way.
You sexually.
She wants to assault me. She wants to rape me. Okay, I see. Here's the thing: she'd need to put the roofie in the first drink, because I only drink 2 drinks.
Yeah,
and then I'm basically done.
Date.
Unless it's spread over like many hours, I don't. Even if I even feel myself get tipsy, I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done drinking.
I mean, that's because I don't get drunk. Responsible.
So like
human.
you can't. So like you can't.
That's a big difference between the two of you as well.
For sure.
Yeah, because I'll drink and you won't.
You also just like
when I did drink,
Yeah.
I went hard. There was
Right,
no stopping
yeah.
me.
Right.
There was no, oh, I'm
There's just-
tipsy, let's stop.
There's your brain being
Yeah.
like, we're done for the night. And you
For
just
sure.
shut up. Yeah. No, yeah, I don't get drunk or do any of that. So it's just like, it'd be difficult, I think, to sexually.
That would be the worst way. I would feel so bad for you if you ended up like losing your virginity by getting like an
Yeah.
older woman just taking you back to her cave and having her way with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's such an outlandish situation to me. I can't even imagine something like that.
She just, or
happening.
then she just like, you can't operate or you don't get hard, so she just punishes you and ties you up, throws you in the closet.
All right, that's kind of cool.
You like that part?
that's
You're like,
pretty hot.
that's one of your
It's
kinks.
not- yeah.
You're like, actually,
Listen, getting slapped is not losing your virginity. Okay? It's just
that would be weird if
just
you were
hit me
super
around,
into
hit me around while I masturbate.
ins-
Okay, that's completely fair game.
That's so funny. That's fair game. So like, yeah, I did write down like when and where your like, I guess, perfect situation for, I mean, sex to happen. Obviously, after dating and marriage.
Post marriage, I mean, yeah, wedding night is kind of the vibe. Also, this is so funny, dude. This is like such an inside baseball Christian conversation, but like this is something that Christians say to each other, like especially like when people are engaged or whatever. They're like, "Hey, you don't have to have sex that first night." They say that, and they're like, "You might be really tired. You might be super out of it. Like you might not just not be feeling it that night. Yeah. You do not have to have sex." Whereas like that seems like probably, I'd imagine, somewhat normal for like a non-Christian couple, because like they probably live together and they've had sex before. So it's like, yeah, we didn't have sex on our wedding night because it's just like whatever, you know. But for a Christian, we're like, we've been chomping at the bit for years, and people are like, hey, you don't have to. You can chill.
You're like, yeah, okay? We're going
chill. Get up, get a mimosa, like bed, you know. And then do whatever you want on the, you know, whatever. And it's just, that's such a funny, like, that is an inside baseball, like, Christian thing. It's like, you don't have to. You might be tired. No. But that is the quote-unquote ideal romanticized, you know, like you say goodbye to everyone at your wedding through the tunnel of sparklers, and then you get into the car, and then you drive away, and you get to the hotel that you told people you were going to be at this other place, but then you end up going to this other place because you don't want people to give you a hard time there just in case. And then, you know, you have sex and you're done in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, how many people do you think that disappointed?
Oh, dude, you know how many people wish they got a divorce the second after they lost their virginity?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so many Christians just have that post-nut clarity, and then they're like, oh, damn. Okay. They look at their wife, and they're like, you're my wife.
Even
and their wife is like, I know I'm your wife. And they're like, no, you're my wife.
I feel like the wife would be like, that's all I got. I'm out of here.
I don't know. It is a little different. I think, like...
if I was the wife, I'd be like, well, out of all those romance like novels that I was okay to read or whatever it was, and those didn't pay off to like an epic, sexy night on my wedding night.
Well, I think the difference between like Christian gals, and if you're a Christian gal and you're listening to this and I'm wrong, feel free to let me know.
Huge Christian listener.
I'd imagine, yeah.
Just the few episodes we've put out. I mean, people have been tagging me. It's huge.
Hannah Popkins sharing with all of her Christian gal friends.
Yeah.
But my, like, how I see it with my gal friends growing up and stuff, they much more romanticize the life of being
in a relationship.
It's not about sex so much. It's much more like, oh, I'm a wife. I have kids now. We do all that, and they just romanticize that, like the minivan, the taking the kid. Not every friend of mine obviously is that way, but there's a lot who are, and they're just like, I want to get married ASAP, and I want to start a family. You know, like so many gals on Hinge that like have the Christian thing. Yeah. They're like, you have to be down for kids. You want kids right now. You want kids. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, that's cool that they want kids. That's good to know what you want
right, you know? Now though.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's wiggle room there, but a lot of them are like, you want to have kids, you know, like you gotta get, because like the family is the biggest thing for them, you know.
Yeah, that would not be the person I would click or swipe right on.
Well, listen, no offense, Austin, but they wouldn't swipe
on
you either. So take that. You'd put a yes by the marijuana leaf, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'll pray for him."
I don't know. I haven't been on those apps in a long time. It's over. They're overrated.
Well, that's true for sure.
Like masturbation, is that a thing?
I mean, it's a thing that happens.
I mean, is it a thing for you?
I mean, yeah, it's a thing that happens, but it's not something I'm like.
You're not avid masturbator.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that like I think is.
If you were like
morally-
a role-playing video game,
I would not call masturbation a morally neutral thing.
so it's not a bad thing.
No, I would lean it towards that way.
It
I
would
don't
be
think
a
it's
bad
like,
thing.
I don't think it's the best.
Do you feel
use of your
guilt after?
sperm. No, no.
You think it's the use of sperm?
No,
thing,
no,
huh?
no. I was being facetious.
I know.
But I think
I was gonna say, you know how much sperm I've wasted in my life.
no. I think like,
I think it can be an addiction for people.
oh, it definitely is an addiction. I
Oh,
definitely-
100%. I'm 100% a sex addict.
Yeah, I think porn
100%. I mean,
is no bueno.
I'm being honest here, but
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, about you being sick. Yeah, you are. Like, just double down on me. No, I think like masturbation is. I would not consider it. Like, I don't think that sex is meant for one's own consumption. Like, if you use masturbation just as a term in anything outside of literally masturbating, it's not being used as a compliment. You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, they're just intellectually masturbating, or oh, you're doing a big old circle jerk, or oh, you're doing like, it's all negative. Like, no one thinks like, oh, you're masturbating. That's awesome. You know, like
I don't know. I hang out with a different group of people.
I guess that's true.
I feel like there's plenty of people that I have in my life that are like, masturbation's a very positive thing.
I think it can be a good
Have an
thing.
I
orgasm
think there's
and go
shame associated to
get.
it.
Well, that's what I was gonna. So
Right.
in a month, how many times do you think you nut?
Fewer than there are days in the month.
Fewer. So
I mean, it really depends, because this year I went from January, I don't know the date exactly, but January to August without masturbating,
Wow.
which is the longest I've gone in my adult life, which is
Okay.
kind of crazy.
Would you like to do it right now?
No.
On the podcast?
Not masturbate?
I don't know.
Not masturbate?
Yeah.
I could do, this is an audio podcast, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm unzipping my pants. No,
Oh my God, it's huge.
yeah.
Holy cow, Josh! I didn't think.
Guess
how are you
what,
able
Austin?
to keep that thing
I'm,
contained?
I'm flaccid right now.
Whoa!
Yeah.
We're swinging it around.
Yeah, why do you
Like
think I
a
get a
pool
tear in the
noodle.
crotch of my pants
Yeah.
so fast?
So, what? Okay, in the last 30 days, how many times do you think you've masturbated?
I'd say sub 20.
20?
Sub 20.
Sub
But I
20.
don't keep track.
Okay, I mean, no one really does, but I
Yeah.
appreciate that's a seems like a very honest answer from you, because I was thinking like 4.
Oh, no.
No,
I wish
okay.
it was 4.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do
I
you
wish it
feel-
was 0, but.
Do you feel guilt,
So I think that's where, like, I've had a lot of.
or do you make it magical? Well,
What do you mean make it magical?
I was gonna say paint your scenario, but we don't have to get into.
I mean, it's not a scenario. It's
Yeah.
a lot of the time, it's not like a, I'm going to
Okay.
light the candle
that
and
would
get
be
in
cool.
a mood.
That's
But
what I was hoping.
no,
Like
sorry.
turn the picture of Jesus away from your bed,
Oh,
and you're like, no, sorry, you can't watch this one. Maybe
no
next
pictures
time,
of
pal.
Jesus. No pictures of Jesus. However, there is a Bible on my right next to my bed, and that sometimes
man.
I'm like, is proximity an issue there?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it is,
but
100%. It is.
but that's the
judging
thing.
you.
That's kind of where I think I've had a lot of growth this year, particularly is in terms of like, I get it. I was gonna say it earlier, and I was gonna mention that I'm using the word growth, but then I didn't.
Anyways, I think it's growing.
No, I
mean,
had a lot
your
of-
wiener in general.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
is that like your nose and your ears? It just doesn't.
That
stop
would be
growing?
fun.
That'd be pretty cool. Like some 100.
I feel like it's a muscle.
Absolute.
I feel like mine's strong.
Oh well, mine is weak. Mine is flaccid. Mine's been getting carried. Let's
Mine
just put
can
it that
bring
way.
in all the
atrophied.
groceries.
Yeah, there's atrophy. Yeah, my left knee because of ACL and my dick because of my religion. No.
Yeah.
I think there's been a lot of growth in terms of not feeling shame, because I think like the idea of feeling shame based on sin is not the purpose of Christianity, which I think is what a lot of people do like hate about Christianity, whether they grew up in it and left, or whether they just don't really know, but I've just heard things about it. Yeah. What they hate is like the shame culture of it, and like, oh, you masturbated, you should feel bad, you should do all that stuff. But the whole idea of Christianity is that like you still do bad stuff and you are loved anyways.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, you do great stuff so you're loved. It's like you suck and Jesus loves you. So that, like, lean into that. Don't be like, oh, I should be a better person. Lean about the fact, like, yeah, you did something that maybe wasn't the best, whatever that is. I mean, it doesn't have to be masturbation, obviously. But like, Jesus still loves you in spite of that, which, like, I think being loved and like, or even like being friends with someone who you disagree with is like probably a stronger friendship because you're like, hey, I love this friend of mine, even though we don't agree on everything, which means I love them for who they really are, not just agreeing with them. So like when I do something bad, I'm not like, oh, I'm earning Jesus's love, which you could then lose. It's like Jesus loved me in spite of me being just a not great person and like not loving him well or other people well, you know?
For sure.
So it's like a more of a freedom thing than anything, than like shame.
And getting rid of like, kind of that shame. What
Yeah.
if someone, like caught you masturbating that was in your church community? Would they be like, shame, shame, shame,
no.
shame,
No.
you jerk off?
No, I don't know any person. I don't know any guy at least. I don't talk any guy. I don't know any of my guy friends that don't masturbate.
Okay.
I mean, they all do. It's not something that we're like, yo, you nut? That's sweet. But like, it's like not something that you brag about, but it's,
I mean, no one really does, but some people do in like certain conversations, I guess.
Right. Yeah. But it's like, let's say, like if you ask someone who's like a very honest person for the most part, like, oh, what'd you do today? They'd be like, well, I woke up. I like, if they're being super literal and like granular, like I woke up, I masturbated, I went like made some coffee, I do whatever. And he's like, and you know what? I masturbated again later that afternoon. Like whatever. That might be a Christian's day, but they're just gonna drop the masturbation part. Like that might be
I
true,
think
but
that's
we're
like
just not gonna talk about it.
That's like in a world where you like couldn't lie. Where you're just be like, yep, I just did this stuff. And
yeah, or someone's like, oh, I masturbated yesterday. A Christian is not going to offer up that information.
For sure.
You mostly have to be asked about it.
Have either of you seen the Seinfeld episode where they all challenge each other to see who can?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
No.
What season is
no
that?
FAP?
Yeah,
Because I'm on season 5 right now.
I think it's before that.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
You may have fell asleep.
Probably.
It was a
I might have
sleep
skipped
episode.
it because I was like, that's a sinful episode. Actually, it's okay. You guys are glorifying masturbation.
Do you feel like there's ever like pent up energy where you're like, man, I gotta go rub one out?
It's called a wet dream.
I was gonna ask about those next.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you.
So your pent up energy just comes. Do you still have wet dreams as an adult?
Dude, this year when I was not masturbating for those 8 months, wet dream probably every 2 weeks.
Oh, tight.
Because it's got to get out somehow, dude.
Yeah.
It doesn't just go to like some testicular cloud.
No, but
like,
that's
it's,
cool.
It's like, no, it's got to get out. So like I'm wet dream every 2 weeks probably.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you
dude.
like can tell you're like, I'm due for a wet. You're like, damn it. And then like you wake up
you like
and
go
you
to
like
sleep
look.
a little horny. You're
it's
like,
like 3 a.m. You're like, damn it. It sucks when it's like at 6.
Yeah.
Because like I need to get up at 7 for work.
And you just
and
miss
6
that
is like,
whole hour.
it's like, so do I. Obviously, I'm getting up. So at this point, because I'm not just sleeping in my cum, so I gotta like change
Every 2 weeks.
So annoying, dude.
Dude, I've never had a wet dream.
I don't think I've ever had one.
You don't think you've ever had one?
No,
You
you
guys
need
are
to be
heathens,
milked.
dude.
What?
Milk?
Yeah,
Oh, well,
you're
yeah.
exploding.
No, that's true. I am exploding.
No,
Yeah.
because like
Did
I've
you
heard
guys know
other
that cows have milk dreams.
milk
That's-
dreams.
They're not milk. They explode while they're sleeping.
I've heard other adults talk about how they still have wet dreams, and I'm like, dude, do you remember the dreams that you have from coming?
Dude, most of the dreams, I'm like,
No, I just
that's nice. That's nice sound though.
What was it?
Cream dreams.
Cream dreams. That's the name of your first special.
Most of the dreams, I'm not exactly leaning into it. I'm like, don't come. And then I do, and I'm like, no.
See, that's when I
And
think
then-
when you release, you're gonna have some weird kinks in your like marriage.
Oh,
Where I feel
okay.
like sexually, you're gonna be like, "Hey, babe, do you think we can try spanking me tonight for 35 minutes?
35 minutes straight.
35 minutes straight?"
You're
and
like,
tell
you
me,
think it's going to be hard on me? It's going to be harder on you.
yeah,
'Cause you're going to need to.
You might want to work that arm out
Yeah,
because I'm gonna need at
exactly.
least 173
You're
spankings.
strong arm only. Okay,
I want to
so-
feel it tomorrow. Is
Yeah,
what
exactly.
I'm saying, and you're gonna feel it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the shoulder in.
That's
I just feel like once you do become sexually active, I hope you're both freaks when it comes down
Sure.
to it. So like
Yeah.
the woman that you are going to spend the rest of your life with, you can do all sorts of crazy things with.
Yeah.
I want you to explore, I guess, sexually. It ultimately would be cool.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, let me
I'll
know.
let you know what's up.
Do you also want your partner to have not been with anybody?
I mean, it's a weird thing to say want to. Like, I think, like, I mean, this is also
Just so that's not a, or if it's a line in the sand.
Would you
I
like
guess.
to lose
Oh,
your
I would not-
virginity to each other?
I mean, that in the Christian world, that is like the ideal, right?
That's
You're
it?
like, oh, sweet. Yeah. Like, that's great. But like if I'm dating someone who's not a virgin, I'm not going to be like, oh, we're over. I'm gonna like, you're gross. You know, like that's not what would happen.
That's true. They are.
I'd be like, I mean, yes, they are, but I'd look over it.
No.
I would not. That would not be like a make it break it for me. Like make it break it, perfect every. And that might actually be like a more conservative Christian, like make it break it, perfect in every way. But they're not a virgin.
Like
And then people would be like, ooh, break it, break it, break it. And it's like, not like what? That's crazy. Make it.
Me and Laura lost it to each other.
Dude, that's so hot.
Permanently unengaged.
Whoa.
That is so hot, dude.
Josh aroused.
Golly. I gotta stay seated for a little longer.
Seen him that immediate horny. I can usually read your energy, but man,
You just had a cream dream.
yeah,
Right, exactly, right now.
that one's gonna wet later.
Ask for a blanket here.
Yeah. The wet dreams is
Josh.
always crazy to me because,
Yeah,
like I
those
said,
are-
I've never had one.
Yeah, I mean they're not enjoyable. They're not fun.
Yeah.
It's just like you wake up and you're like, well, I guess I had an orgasm.
Yeah, but
And you're like, that's-
I like your situations of the dreams. That's why I feel like you're gonna have some weird kinks because you're like, no, I don't want to come. I don't want to come.
Well, no, it's just that because you know there's a moment where you're like in between dream and awake state, and you're like, oh, if this is going to happen in real life, and I'm gonna have to get out of bed in the middle of the night, and it's just like I don't want to deal with that logistically. Like
Dude,
it's not
that's
like,
so weird.
just so
dreaming.
annoying. What?
That's like lucid dreaming.
It is in a
Do you
weird way.
have,
Well,
like-
I've been able to do that like once or twice.
What about pornography? Is that something that's against the rules?
It's not great.
It's not great?
It's not ideal. I mean, again,
They don't pass it out.
Is there
would be-
is there categories
don't
like
pass that, I hate it.
porn, like Christian porn, where it's
Christian
like?
porn would just be.
I mean,
it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Christian
You
porn
should create
would be
that.
a wedding,
It's
and
all
then they go
missionary.
into they just leave into the like their hotel room or wherever they're losing their virginity to each other,
Yeah.
and then the door closes and that's it.
that would
And
be
that's
so
it. You can't
funny.
see a damn thing.
Like
and-
not even erotic, where it's like
No.
bride finds a hot dude before she gets married.
Oh, zero shot.
And then it would
Adultery?
be then like well, and then yours
kidding
like
me?
your version would just be like two adults getting married, and then it would just be like back at their hotel room. And
It would be like
softcore
picture
porn.
someone who's like Ben Daly, Ben Daly, and then Ben Daly's female counterpart, just completely mild, very sweet, nice people. They just have a relationship and don't have sex during it. They get married, and then they have sex. And like and it doesn't show any of that. You see the wedding reception and everything. You're like, this is so nice. They leave through the tunnel of sparklers. They get in the car. Door closes. That's it. And then like the Christian guys who aren't married yet look around at their buddies and they're like, they're like, good for him.
He's
man.
riding
freaking
off in the
good.
sunset.
Yeah, the first one of us that was married, all of us were like, nice. Good for him, man.
Tell us what it's like.
Good for him.
Send
that's
a postcard.
That's the weird thing. You talk a lot about sex pre-marriage within the Christian culture, like what blah, 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 all this stuff, and even though we have no idea what we're talking about, and then you talk about sex a lot though, and
That's
you
so
have like
funny.
you have like a game plan. You're like, well, I'm gonna eat her out first, and then I'm gonna. What? It's just stupid. It's just dumb stuff. And just like
that's a good game plan.
it gets really well.
that's what you're gonna do.
Because all the guys, we all know we're not gonna last for. We're not gonna last at all. So it's just like we all know that, and so we're just basically we have to game plan because we don't want our wives to be upset at us. So like that's kind of the thing.
So you're gonna start with oral. So wait,
That's
paint
the
the
thought.
picture. Paint me a picture of your first sexual experience and how rock and roll stud you're gonna be.
Here's the thing. That is between me and my wife.
Oh my god.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It'll have some degree of foreplay. We'll ride it out, and then that's
In the moment,
metaphorical.
protection, no protection.
Dude, that is a real question. Well, that's the thing. So, like, I know.
I would immediately go.
Like I talk to all my friends, and they're like some of them do natural family planning, others rap, others are on birth control. Although in the circle that I run in from my Christian school, most people consider like the pill to be pretty sexist. So like, don't like taking the pill basically puts so much effort on the woman and like messing with their hormones and stuff like that, and nothing is required of the dude. So it's kind of like, why are we doing that? That's kind of misogynistic. So a lot of gals don't do the pill, whereas other ones who are like, no, seriously, I don't want to get pregnant, like do. So it's like every one of my couple friends does it differently, but
Individual thought on that one.
yeah, everyone's a little different. We have friends who do NFP, natural family planning, which is basically are you familiar with that? Like track the cycle really, really closely. Don't have sex for 1 week out of the month. And basically, one of my friends who I'm sure will not listen to this. One of my friends was like, yeah, dude, it's super easy. It's really easy. They did it right 3 times, and on the 4th month, she got pregnant. And that's the thing. If you're doing natural family planning, you're just the type of person to not get an abortion.
It's a weird gamble, though.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, no, I don't want to get pregnant. And it's like, yeah, but if you do get pregnant, you're keeping it. Like,
Yeah.
you're not aborted. You're like, I don't want to get pregnant, but if I do get pregnant, whatever.
Yeah, that is a weird. You're just like, we know.
I mean, it was a stressful time for them. It was really stressful when they did get pregnant because they were like, oh, shite, we've been married for 4 months.
Yeah.
And I'm planning on going back to grad school, and I'm doing all this stuff. So it was really
That
complicated.
feels like it should be a part of the perfect Christian porno.
Yeah,
Like having
for
the
sure.
baby right after getting married.
And
Dude,
having
seriously? I
Well,
mean,
and that's
like,
what
It's a
how-
fairy tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering
can be. It
how
definitely can
many
be
babies
for
are
people.
conceived like wedding night. You think?
Dude.
Like, is that a
disappointingly
super
large
Christian?
amount. Well, I mean, it just depends because it's like no one knows if they're fertile or not. Like no one knows.
Yeah,
because
but-
they've never even been checked out.
Okay,
Because
so-
they're just like, I mean, there's probably it depends. If you get like an IUD, obviously the gal's been checked out, which is you
Okay,
know,
so
but-
here's the scenario: 2 loyal Christians, both losing their virginity to each other.
hot. Yeah.
Baby conceived on wedding night, born
Right.
on Christmas Day.
Oh my gosh.
This is like one of the Pornhub stories.
Dies. Yeah. It's
Comes back 3 days later.
Stories to Penthouse.
Easter. Yeah. That's a dude. Is that a super Christian?
Here's the thing.
How do you make a super Christian?
I think those are super. That's super.
You know you can.
What's the word?
You also, I mean, you
not
had the answer
convenient.
for the Google thing
Holy.
earlier. Why my phone puts God in caps.
Oh, they're not a super Christian, but that is super crazy. That's pretty cool.
Would that be?
It's pretty
Would,
cool.
Okay. Would people look at that guy differently?
He's a blessing.
Oh no one within Christianity. We'd just be like, wow, that's pretty crazy. Like my cousin was born on Christmas,
Okay.
and I don't think she's Jesus. She's South Korean.
I feel like a lot of women are
but-
born on Christian.
On
But
Christmas,
I mean, what if? I mean,
that's interesting.
I could see Jesus being a South Korean woman.
Really,
Yeah.
that's cool. Half South Korean, half white. My uncle's white. He married a South Korean.
Yeah. That's actually when I picture.
Okay,
That's
pretty
what I'm like. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
their hair is probably the same length.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
Biracial Jesus.
So
Yeah.
you didn't really want to walk through the sex with us, but will you walk us through a proposal? Like, do you want to test out?
What's
a good-
what's a proposal?
I have no clue.
propose to Austin
Okay, so
real quick.
this is a joke. This is like a joke thing that I would do. Are you guys familiar with San Diego at all? Like,
yeah.
the
I
landscape?
actually am.
Okay,
kind
well,
of.
the Coronado Bridge. Yeah, are you familiar with that? It's like the number 3 suicide bridge in America. Because it's not convenient. You gotta like park your car and jump off, and you gotta
Yeah.
leave your car there, which is kind of rude.
Well,
So
they don't
it's a
make
hike.
it difficult
Yeah.
for those. Like I rode across the Golden Gate Bridge.
right, so
coulda
easy.
hucked that-
That's
no.
why it's number 1. Dude.
Yeah.
That's why it's number 1.
I'm like, and it's scary. Look
Like,
over.
I'm going for a nice walk,
Dude, I could-
or I'm gonna go kill myself. It's the same place.
Did I ever told you that story about?
You
Stanley?
saw a dude?
No. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'll tell you my Golden Gate Bridge after you tell me your San Diego.
Well, so here was the
Coronado
San
Bridge.
Diego proposal, right? So driving over, it would need to be like late at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Driving over to Coronado or from Coronado. Either way, I pretend to get a flat tire.
Oh,
right?
gosh.
I pretend to get a flat tire. I'm like, oh no, this is so uncomfortable. And I set out flares because it's a pretty narrow bridge. I set out flares to give us like a lane of space or whatever. She gets out of the car. I get out of the car. And then we're at the Coronado Bridge at a beautiful night overlooking downtown.
Well,
also
she's
Tijuana.
stressed out.
Also
thinking
Tijuana.
She's on the side of the road.
God.
Nah, but yeah, maybe I need to calm her down somehow. I need to be like, look, it's not even flat. Then she'd be like, what's going on? And then I'd be like, boom, will you marry me? And then
oh shit,
she can jump off the bridge if she wants.
Yeah.
No, but
I was gonna say, as there's a man just being like, I'm gonna do it.
dude,
I swear.
seriously, I've thought about that, and then I've thought, yeah, and then we're like, no. You have to come to our wedding.
Yeah.
And
You're
that's
my
how he does
best
it. And then he
man.
comes to my wedding. And I'm like, who are you? And then he kills himself afterwards. And then, but like that would be the San Diego, like on top of the Coronado Bridge, you know, which is super
Nope,
dangerous.
second-
And also there are police
Yeah.
stationed on both sides looking for jumpers. So like they'd be like, oh, there's a couple about to jump. And I'd be like, no, jump into a lifelong commitment of love and marriage with each other.
Yeah.
Frick yeah. Maybe they're like, we know, we're coming to stop you.
Yeah.
We're all divorced.
Right, exactly.
I'm in love with you.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah.
You didn't really. So you're just gonna say, "Will you marry me?" No kind of setup. No.
I don't know who the person is yet. What do you want me to
that's
do?
More of like,
This isn't Mad
an
Libs
act
and you just
build.
plug in her name.
Oh, so you're gonna
You know.
improv it.
That's an act.
Well, this is I don't know who the person is yet. I gotta meet the person. I gotta be like, guess what? Your favorite color's purple, and you love bread. And so I mean,
that's
you know,
why
then
we're
you
in San Diego Bridge.
right, and then you incorporate it into whatever, you know, or like where they're from, favorite location, you know, all that stuff. Like you just got to build it around the individual. You can't just have this stock template of like,
I
know.
agree.
I thought that's how it worked.
You're like, oh, I've written that when I was
glad
12.
you're-
I assumed you've been writing this forever.
I'm glad you're
It's gotta
permanently
work, dude.
unengaged.
That's what
This
I
is
said.
not- this is, you just never had to think about it. You're just
Yeah.
yeah.
So the foreplay and the sex stuff, that'll be fun. You
I
think?
mean, I imagine.
Okay.
Listen. This is.
I'm
not,
just saying
I
that's
can't
what
say
your
I know.
ultimate. That's what you said you're gonna go down on her.
I mean, that's always the thought. It's just the prevalent concern is guys coming immediately and being like, "Man, I'm kind of tired from the night, huh? That was a good." And then she's
So
just
you're
like,
gonna
"Excuse me?"
you're gonna get the oral out of the way first.
Listen, we'll see at the time. That's kind of the.
I'm
it's the
excited
theory,
for you
but
to
we'll
give
see.
oral to a woman.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's just me being me,
Cool.
being honest.
I appreciate you being
I'm
honest.
excited about that.
No, we're both being open.
I think all the women listeners are very excited about that too, Josh.
Yeah, well, convert to Christianity
Yeah.
and date me for 2 years, and then they do a 6
You
month.
hear that, ladies?
engagement.
You're gonna have to tie him down.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not saying don't try.
Yeah.
No.
So, you basically broke it down how you would propose to a woman, and she doesn't even know you yet.
Well,
All she
that
has
would
to
be
do
the
is
San
listen.
Diego. That would be the San Diego
You
location.
got a
But-
Colorado.
no, Colorado, dude. Colorado would probably be. It'd be so basic. It'd be like because I love Cheeseman. That's the problem. Is I love Cheeseman Park. It's my favorite park in the world. It really is.
Okay, buddy.
I
Keep
know.
it down.
I
We're not gonna
understand.
plug Cheeseman.
It's a problem, and I love
It's
it.
a problem.
Well, that's how basic it is. It's so I'm not just gonna be like if I proposed at Cheeseman,
you are a very
I'd
basic
give her,
man.
I'd give her permission to slap me right in the nose.
Yeah.
Just be like, yeah, you're so stupid.
Yeah.
You know.
You do like very basic. I noticed
Yeah.
when we get pizza together.
Jeez, baby.
Yeah, just cheese slice. He says if the cheese slice at any pizza place isn't significant, then their pizza ain't shit.
That's true, dude. I mean, why do I want toppings on top of a garbage foundation?
That's fucking.
You know
That's
what
a
I'm
genius
saying?
thought process.
Yeah. Why do I need jelly unless the PB is good?
Mm-hmm.
I only do the peanut butter sandwiches. I don't put jelly in it.
Yeah. Dude.
Are there any specific Christian role models that you
Christian role models?
Yeah,
like who'd you look up to
somebody
as a young man?
that was open about their Christianity? I guess because it's not like a lot of people talk about it all the time.
Ricky
Right.
Martin.
I'm not familiar.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, do your homework.
In terms of
Come here educated next
All
time,
right.
pal.
don't come out here looking like an idiot.
Yeah, when I say Ricky Martin, you.
That's like the one foothold you got on me. So excited about Christianity. You're like, he doesn't know who Ricky
I
Martin
don't know.
is.
I don't
Call
even
him
know.
Stupid.
I don't even know if he's Christian.
Oh, okay.
I just pulled that out. It
well,
just
like
seems like
the-
something he would do.
The Christian role. I mean, from when I was young, I didn't really have any like famous Christian role models. I had like a high school mentor, Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock
Is he
Johnson.
Christian?
I don't know.
Oh,
He seems like something that he would do though too.
Well, that's the thing. Well, yeah, maybe because he's just like a nice person.
Okay, well, who do you think's a Christian poser? Tell me your
Christian
poser. And say it like this.
I
Say,
mean, Joel Osteen, pretty obvious. I mean, that's like a classic big old pastor that everyone knows.
that guy's a fucking poser.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think he is. He's not even a good poser.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't even try to be like, no, I love the gospel. He's just like, yeah, you should, it'll bring you wealth, and he's a prosperity gospel guy, which is garbage. I'm trying to think of Christian posers. I mean, I don't really know because it's hard. I try not to like if there's. I'm trying to think who if they told me there was a Christian, I'd be like, really. Because your life is super opposite of that.
Yeah.
This is fun. I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, that
because,
woman.
Evan pulled up a page that says 40 Christian celebrities that speak about their faith. And Candace Cameron Burr is the first person. Tom, yeah, dude. And
He's got to be one of the goats.
Here's the thing:
right?
Hanks was raised Catholic and Mormon, and describes it Bible-toting evangelical. All three of those things are so different. Oh, in his teenage years, he later converted to Greek Orthodox before marrying Rita Wilson, and they still
touched all the bases, man.
Dude,
Yeah, that guy.
he
that
did
guy's
Catholic,
educated.
Mormon,
Someone's going to
evangelical, and Greco. That's insane. Like those
Tom
are
Hanks is a religion.
all three of those.
slut.
Are also Mormons, by the way, are not Christians. They're not. They'll tell you they are, but they don't think Jesus is God, and that's pretty crucial to Christianity. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard, dude, because these people might Chris Pratt. Yeah, people talk about their faith
You kind of
privately.
look like Chris
Pratt. He's not one of your
Stop.
idols. He
Stop.
wasn't Andy. Andy wasn't one of your favorites growing up.
I did like Andy.
Well, who
I did
doesn't like Andy?
Yeah, that's true. Jane Fonda.
Jane
What?
Fonda. She did the workout videos. Marky
Wahlberg.
Mark and the Funky Bunch.
I don't, it's just hard
I
to say
love
because
God.
people practice.
That
people,
guy is a Christian for his success in Hollywood.
critics of
faith and
Christianity.
My faith and my family are the most important things.
And
He's
He
got
my
a
said.
car.
diamond-studded cross on right now.
Oh my God, Marky Mark. Did you ever listen to Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch?
No.
Oh
What?
my.
The thing is, like people
the best
practice
piece of
their
work you
faith
did.
so privately a lot of
Honest.
the times that it's like if they came out and they're like, "Yeah, I'm a Christian," I'd be like, "Oh, okay." Like I don't know what that looks like behind closed doors. I personally would want to live openly about it, like be pretty open.
Do you think
about
any of
Christianity.
these people are posers?
Well, they're Southern. I mean,
Reba
I don't know.
McEntire,
Here's the thing: they don't talk about their
the
faith.
fucking queen of country music.
Yeah, they don't talk about their faith. That's the problem. So it's like openly. So I can't say. You know, if someone was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a super
Speak
Christian,"
openly.
and like I'm a really like.
I think she has a couple songs about it.
I mean,
sure.
she's also Southern, so
I
she's
think
halfway
Faith
there.
is one of her songs.
Oh, Chip and Joanna Gaines, they're legit. Denzel's legit.
Yo, I'm Denzel.
Denzel's
Washington.
very legit.
Denzel's legit. dude.
Denzel's probably
Jackie Joyner, Kersey. What? Who even is that?
she runs.
Yeah,
She's an athlete.
dude. How dare they put her right after Denzel?
Faith Hill and Tim McGraw.
As if they're similar. Just because her name's Faith doesn't
That
mean she's
cowboy
in.
hat. Oh man.
Brad Paisley. Yeah, see all these Southern people.
Oh, what?
Dwayne
Colin
The Rock
Shots,
Johnson.
dude. I mentioned it earlier. I told you that's something he would say.
It's like country musicians
quality
and a
of faith.
handful of
Have
cool
faith on the
actors.
other
Yeah,
side of
well,
your
and like
No. This is garbage. He just says, hold on to the fundamental quality of faith. Have faith
yeah.
on the. Yeah, what
See,
does that
that's
mean?
poser
What
right
does that
there.
mean? Have faith?
That's
Well, yeah,
me.
but a ton of people talk about that, and like they're like, I don't know, maybe I'm a Christian because they don't know what Christianity is. So like that's Tim Tebow's legit.
Tim Tebow
He's
did
super
pray.
Christian.
Yeah.
He's super Christian.
That's probably like
He's
one
kind of a
the,
dick about it though.
I was gonna say he's probably like one of the like Christian celebrities for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least in his.
But I understand he seems to be a very sweet guy, but
I like
like
how they put the Jonas
oh,
Brothers.
Chance is legit for
Yeah,
sure.
Chance.
Is like he lives out his faith and like is a Christian, I think, in like a really cool way.
Garth, one of the best performing.
He's wearing a hat. He's wearing a cowboy hat and a tuxedo.
Do you
I don't
guys
really
know
respect
about
that.
Garth Brooks's like Instagram?
Yeah.
No.
We'll leave it for that other.
Okay, yeah. If you're interested, just look it up.
We'll leave it for the other podcast
pretty
that's
funny.
got it in control of.
Christian Chenoweth. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just hard to say because so many
Tyler
people.
Perry, Justin Biebs.
I think he's pretty legit at this point.
I feel like in his
He
old
was
age.
going to Kanye's church.
Yeah,
who doesn't?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean, I
they go
was
to a
getting
celeb
invited.
church. They go to a
No
celeb
big
church.
deal. Don't say it like it was a big thing. I just decided not to go. I was just busy that day, and I couldn't
You had
attend
a
it
spot at
myself.
Giordano's.
Okay,
That's also the big. That's
Yeah,
the biggest spot
it's
Giordano's.
fine.
That's the big thing is like one of the biggest things that I think people, and maybe I'm like breaking the rule right now, is like don't say whether someone else is or isn't a Christian. Like that's not my call. Like it's not my
Yeah.
call to be like, oh yeah, they are, they aren't. My call is to be like, is to try and love them well. If they say they're Christian, I'm like, awesome. What does that mean? Like,
Yeah.
like what does that mean? Because there's some people who are like,
all
means
right,
I have
all
faith
right,
and like
all
good
right.
things.
What do you think
and-
about Mount McConaughey? He's
I've
got to
heard
be
him
one
talk
of the
about-
hottest Christians. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Okay, top 5 hottest Christians.
Hottest Christians? Well, I
We're
mean
getting
these
through the
people
list.
on the list:
I know.
Denzel, Matthew, Justin.
Denzel. Okay, your
Kanye
ultimate.
is not hot. He's got good teeth. But
He's
he's not
definitely not hot.
hot.
Ooh.
Chrissy Metz. No,
yeah.
just kidding.
Dude, Steve Harvey.
He's got
fucking
his
goat.
teeth are a little too perfect.
No, he's a god.
No.
Look at that man. He is a fucking.
Oh, Selena
genius.
Gomez. She's very attractive. I won't comment on her faith because I don't know anything about it. But
Her faith. Okay.
she's a very good
What
looking
if you
person.
found
in my
out she
opinion.
was super
What
Christian,
about
though? Does that make it
is
hotter?
Probably.
And she's been saving her
just a
virginity
thought
for you?
I've had. Here's just a thought I've had. And I don't know why I've had it, but for years I've been like, dude, if I met Selena, I think we'd hit it off.
Yeah,
I just think
I
we
appreciate you being honest about that.
I don't know if we would, but I feel like we would. And I don't know. And I don't feel that way about other celeb crushes that I have. I don't. I don't feel that way about everyone.
Well,
I don't feel that way about Florence Pugh.
Funny you say that. We have someone phoning in right now. Weirdly enough, it's Selena Gomez. She's a friend of mine.
Let's go, Selena.
Yep,
Chuck
Selena.
Norris,
she just texted me, said, "Hey,
Mr.
call
T,
me."
No. Jennifer Garner. Ben Affleck. That's a weird one. MC Hammer. Stephen Baldwin. Oh, Stephen Baldwin is, yeah, he's very outspoken.
Jesus freak of Hollywood.
Yeah, that's just how it goes.
You're the Jesus freak of Denver, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
In a good way.
In a good way, not an actual freak. No, but it's hard to say because it's like, yeah, I don't know their faith, so I can't say that.
Well, and you are like one of the people, like I said, in my life that I know who are still practicing religion, belief, faith. And I mean, yeah, and it's wild to me because there's also a point of view that's such a core component of like freedom of speech. Like you say some jokes that you wouldn't picture a normal Christian comic. And I know you're not a Christian comic, you're a comic, which is what I love about you. I mean, I would love you if you were.
That's all that I love about you. Yeah. If this was gone, I'd hate you.
If you were claimed as a Christian comic, I still think you would be dope because your theory and belief on what comedy is already so more.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, there aren't a lot of it. I will say, I think I'm in a not known about subset of Christianity where we believe in Jesus and the gospel and all that stuff that everyone thinks is like really crazy. But at the same time, I'll say cunt. Yeah. Like I'll do both of those things. That's fine, Like, and I think that's people who are the subset of Christianity that I am, more conservative, like, abstinent, whatever. They tend to come off as like really prudish. Like, oh, don't act this way. Don't hang out with people who smoke weed. Like, I think did I tell you that story about when I was hanging out with friends in San Diego?
Yeah.
And they were like, how many people do you know who smoke weed, like, to each other?
Yeah.
And one of them was like, I had one friend, but I think he stopped. And just like,
that's so weird.
And I'm like, what? This is crazy. And I was like, I get offered weed
like
4 or 5 times a night.
Yeah.
And I told them that you call me the Uno reverse card in the circle because
it is true.
I hit them and then hit them with the reverse and they're like, oh, okay. And like, so I have that conservative side of friends.
Well, in the world you've involved yourself in is misfits and broken toys. We're all just moving along, trying to make our way in this world.
I think the big thing about comedy that I appreciate that bothers me about Christianity and just the world at large, I guess, comics, I think, are much more honest people than non-comics. Like, they're just like, they're honest and they say things the way they are. And that doesn't mean they're not kind, because they are. They can be. They can be really rough sometimes too. But I just think like honesty and authenticity are so important to me that in the Christian world, like when I go visit a church and people come up and like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, shut up, dude. Like, you don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you don't care. You're doing this because the pastor said greet someone new, and I'm new, so now you gotta. Like, stop doing that. Like, I would rather talk to the guy at the coffee table who's like standing there alone, not talking to anyone, because that's what I want to do.
Well, yeah, and that makes it makes sense working your way into the community that we're a part of. Where it's like, I mean, it's straightforward. And if you're just the same that you would want to be towards other people, you bond pretty well,
Yeah, and even the way I worked in, like the way I got into the Denver scene, I mean, you know this because I would just sit alone at Mike's.
I made fun of you multiple times before you started.
Exactly.
Before you started intertwining with everyone, and I thought you were a completely different person. That like I had an immediate judgment, or it wasn't judgment because it wasn't like bad thoughts.
Right.
Where I was just like, oh, this guy, he's very standoffish. He's come to like, I've seen you at like 5 or 6 open mics. I've made fun of his mustache. We've had like, we've bonded, whether it is
on or off stage.
Like whether it's an abstract bonding or not,
Sure.
But I always like appreciated you because you were sitting in the audience tentative.
That's because I had no friends to talk to.
That's why I was like, this guy's dope. asshole. I mean, not me as the person I am wouldn't even stick around and watch your set. So then I'm the jerk where I'm like, he's seen me perform a bunch of times and I don't even know what he says anymore.
Literally how I see open mics working, like the quote unquote rank of open mics is like, first you go up and no comics are going to see you. It's just going to be the host. Maybe.
Yeah.
The host might be paying attention and there might be 1 or 2 crowd members because you're going up basically dead last.
For sure.
You make the host laugh and you bond with him afterwards, then you might get up a little bit early enough to then make comics laugh.
Yeah.
Then once you make comics laugh, they'll come up and talk to you because they like what you did.
Yeah.
And until you make comics laugh, you're not making friends. And then once you make friends, then you can start getting into the scene more.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's basically what I did.
The mics.
What?
Like there's a lot of people that end up going through what you just said, and their first or second set is shitting on the people or the mic for being up so late and all that.
You gotta understand.
No, that's the grind. You're going through that right now. Like I definitely was really upset in my head, like when I waited at Scruffy Murphy's until when it was under previous management.
Yeah.
The open mic.
Sucks.
And when I went up and I literally was there until 12:30 and I was just never called up and I just went home.
Yeah.
And I was so upset, but I'm not going to, if someone talks to me like, hey, how you doing? I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm doing good. Like you bury that because I don't have any sort of, I don't have the social capital or the equity to like complain. They're like, who are you? Or you've never
like,
made me laugh once.
Yeah.
What do you have to say? What does your voice matter? And which I completely agree with. Like my voice doesn't matter because I'm new to the scene. I need to get into the scene in a legit way. And by doing that is by making people laugh. And you just got to come up with good jokes. You just got to have good material or make people laugh on stage. And then you can say something.
Did you hear that, comics? Every comic out there.
Every comic listening.
No, but that is, I mean, it is true. And it's part of just putting in your reps, earning your stripes.
Yeah, and that's ultimately how I worked in is like you talking to me, talking to Jeff every now and then, Stonic.
Yeah, and I feel like I feel like I enjoy talking to newer comics, but sometimes it does take that few seeing them a couple times where you're like, okay, what's your story, dude?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and they need to look like somewhat available too. After the set that I did that then like was like, okay, I gotta keep coming back more often because I'd done a few. I did a set. I wasn't super confident. I was the first open mic I like went to kind of by myself with the intention of starting to do it more often. Yeah. Ali Kareem gave me a nice set. That's the first thing he ever said to me, which I should remind him, by the way, because he just
shits on me.
He just bags on me all the time, and I'm like, by the way, the first thing you ever said to me was nice set. Yeah. So take that.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw you go up, Josh. And I have this like weird
ate a dick.
Well, no, we all have like weird rules that like I'll never make a joke about this or I'll never do this because this thing. And my thing is street signs, road signs.
Yeah.
And I heard you do the joke about the like being concerned about the guy who makes the ticket or click it joke. And
yeah.
Dude, that one hit
me
was so hard.
Ever since
I was like, oh fuck, he can do that joke all he wants. Keep writing them, dude.
Yeah, I have too many street sign jokes.
I could go through my bucket of scraps, and I have one of sex traffic and traffic.
Oh, yeah.
And you just did it 1,000 times better than I.
Damn, you had that thought before? Oh, I'm going to kill myself. It's like, what's even the point anymore? I'm not original.
You are. You are.
You did it perfectly. I was like, wow, he has it. That's all his.
Still a work in progress. I got to figure that out, but...
I don't think you got it. You're crushing. You're crushing.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
You impressed me.
Thanks, I appreciate it. You're worth. I'm
trying to think of the. I don't remember the first set that I remember of yours.
Definitely wasn't worth it.
I just remember seeing you go up, or seeing you at mics. I don't even know if I remember seeing you go up.
You probably didn't, because I would go up dead last at every mic.
When did we like start bonding?
I think really when I started giving you rides places.
No, that was
no. Once I started going to Rover and like you needed a ride, I was like, dude, I'll give you a ride to Rover. And I think you had your bike. Yeah, you had your bike, so you could have gotten there anyways.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, I could just give you a ride though.
Yeah, from Epic to Rover.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were like hanging out and laughing outside of mics before that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
like that's where I felt like I feel like we grew close together with rides and whatnot.
Yeah, but I don't exactly know what the click is that gets you into the.
It's just showing up.
Yeah, it is just showing up again, and that's the thing. It's like, why would you talk to a comic who first time you see them at a mic? If they're like new, you're like, I don't know if you're gonna come back.
Yeah, That
and then they need to come back. Like, I need to see them at like 8 mics.
Yeah.
For me to be like, okay, you're
that, and
like in a quick succession.
don't make it so awkward. There's so many people, or just even conversations where I'm like, what are we doing right now?
Dude,
Like, this is the most weird interaction I've had all week, and why is it with you?
dude, it's because I was talking to someone one time when I was new, like literally first few weeks again.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm obviously still new, but like first few weeks, this guy comes up and talks to me, and I hadn't seen him before, so I was like, oh, he's a guy who's been doing this a bit, whatever. I talked to him, like, so how long you been doing it? Which is a classic sign of a new comic, just asking immediately. And he was like, oh, last Tuesday was my first mic, and I was like, oh, damn. And it was like same with me, but also I was like, I want to talk to more experienced people and like get into that crew.
Yeah.
But the people who come up and talk to you initially, a lot of the times, are also new comics.
Yeah.
Which is also, those are the people you probably should be talking to anyways. Like,
For sure.
because you're in the same class. You know?
Yeah.
But
If I see a new comic and I like what they're doing up there, I will definitely.
and you like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well,
If
no, I
they're
think
bombing
Austin-
on stage all the time,
I do like to give. I like to talk about that though too. Where some of my favorite is talking to newer comics. I'm like, whoa, how did that go for you? How do you feel like
yeah,
that
but
went?
do you think they know that you're
Did you
making
have
fun of
fun?
them?
I'm not making fun of them. I just
you
want
have
their
fun?
honest. Yeah, dude, that's my question.
Yeah, that's.
Did you have fun up there?
Dude, I was talking.
And if I want to be an asshole about it, it's like more like, oh my god, what happened?
yeah, what happened to you? The wheels kind of fell off.
Yeah,
there,
what
huh?
happened up there? Like that's like I've gotten that one thrown at me plenty of times where I'm not afraid
Sure.
to use it.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that.
And
definitely-
also, people have to be aware of what other people felt. Like, people will get off stage and be like, dude, I crushed. And you're like, are you sure?
Yeah,
Everyone in the room felt very uncomfortable. And I'm sorry that I will be the one to tell you that I didn't have fun. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, it's not
Yeah.
even that. It's like just addressing, making them think about it twice.
Yeah, 100%. Just to be like, well, did you really crush? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You're recording your audio. I have never once had an audio recording that I've been like, oh, I did well.
Proud of,
Like
yeah.
when I'm on stage,
Well, and that's holding
it can
yourself to
feel
a
like a
standard.
crush. It can feel like, oh, I'm doing really well. And then I listen to the recording, and even if there are laughs and big laughs and pops, I'm like I literally watched my Comedy Works newbie set in which I did well. And I'm like, God, that's not...
Yeah, but you have another ultimate goal of where you would like to be as a performer.
Yeah.
You have like an outlook of like, hey, this is not as sharp and witty and what I want it to be now, but you have a goal
Yeah.
of like where you would like to be on stage and what you would like to do, you know?
Right. Eventually. Yeah. I mean, it's
I don't
just
think
about...
you want that criticism to go away.
No.
Oh, no. I think that's the weird thing. I think I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's an LA comic. I was talking to him when I was back in San Diego, and we were talking about like when you get to a certain point, you stop getting that criticism and you stop being as funny. I think that's what's happening with like Dave Chappelle. Like everyone's like, his latest special was hilarious. And I was like, okay, calm down. It might have been interesting. You might agree, you might disagree, whatever. But I think we can kind of objectively say it was not that funny. Like he said a few things in there that some people might think is funny, like his jokes, but like it's just not as packed as his earlier stuff. And I think it's because he comes out there and everyone's like, you're the best, you're amazing, you're hilarious. And the criticism makes it harder for him to find actually funny jokes. It's like why Robin Williams quit, why Steve Martin quit, because they just go out, kill, come back, talk to the comics, and the comics are like, it wasn't that good. Like you can't get good data.
There's no failure.
Yeah, if everyone laughs at everything you say, you can't get good data to get better. You know, it's like impossible. And I think Dave Chappelle is not acknowledging that, it feels like. And so he's not like, I don't know, maybe
behind his fans.
Well, his fans definitely. I think it's both. And like, I don't know what he looks like behind closed doors. Maybe he's grinded in clubs and still working, because I know he likes the club scene still.
But still, no, I think it ultimately, I mean,
I just think
the
he's
laughs.
losing. Yeah, well, he's not going for laughs as much as he is speaking.
And that's fine, man. Like if you want to shift and do that like kind of like Carlin did, like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like that's fine. You don't have to, no one's
That's your
making you
narrative.
tell all jokes. You know, I'm probably not going to watch, but I'm just one person, so who cares? You know?
Exactly.
You don't need to please me.
I'm still in the silly. I still in it for the silly. Yeah, no.
Yeah, dude. Well,
I want to get weird. My favorite Chappelle's still the Chappelle Show, and that's like his first big shit. I mean, he was doing comedy and had specials before that, but I mean, ultimately, even those were still silly, you know?
Okay, so you, Josh, were able to make Christianity silly, like when you did the On Gone show.
Dude, that was the first time
yeah.
I thought you crushed.
Yeah,
my
well, I
opinion.
crushed in the way that you like to crush. You like
Yeah.
me to crush.
Well,
So,
I like that's
like
the
the
way
more-
you need to crush, dude. You
like
were still in it.
spontaneous. Well, it's because okay, so
Hail Mary.
You
behind the
went
scene,
fucking all rounds.
behind the scenes on that, I basically had 5 to 7 minutes on this particular aspect of Christianity. Then
Okay.
Jeff comes in. Yeah, what's up?
I was gonna paint a picture. Josh Creedon was booked on a show
Oh yeah,
through Dead Room Comedy. Yuck.
Dead Room Comedy.
Dead.
That's the new Gilbert
Yeah.
Gottfried one. Yeah.
Dead. Anywho, Josh Creedon was booked on a show called On God, where he had to sell the audience on his religion in a very funny way, and he had to do 10 minutes, and he crushed, and it was great. Back at you, pal.
So going into that, it wasn't so much in my mind. It wasn't so much sell your religion as tell people about your religion.
Yeah, make it funny.
And so I was going to try and do that. So I had this whole thing on like, you guys think Jesus is this great person. Well, either he's God or he's literally the worst person to ever exist. Because everyone's like, yeah, Jesus is a nice guy, whatever. It's like, okay, well, he said he was God, creator of everything. So if he's just a person, he's insane. And also millions to billions of people have been martyred for him. So if he's a liar, he's an awful person.
The night before, you and a mic laid down on the ground as your stage
Was
time.
that the night before?
The night before.
Oh, dear Lord.
And you said, guys, tomorrow night I have to do a joke. I have to do a set about Christianity. How do you make people laugh at something that's killed
so many people?
Many people.
Right, exactly.
I'm trying to sell them something that
Yeah, how do you
just
sell them?
kills.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a really tough sell. So that's the perspective. And then Jeff comes in like 10 minutes before the show's going to start, and I'm going up fourth. He's like 10 minutes before the show, and he's like, okay, so I'm going to go up and set the scene. Like, they need to convince me to become a Christian. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, well, none of my material is that. Like, except for like 3 jokes. Yeah. So I had 3 prepared jokes for like
positive.
And I think
positive about Christianity.
Right. That basically, which the one was just bashing Catholicism, the Hail Mary joke. And then I had like 2 other ones, which I spun to kind of make about Christianity. And the rest of the 7 minutes was like kind of just riffing. And because I didn't have, I needed to like come up with 7 minutes of material like half an hour before the show started. And I was like, oh no, this going bad. This going to be real bad. And it ended up being fine. But that like pushed me to riff on stage
For
like
sure.
when I had to. And it ended up being okay. But like I was scrambling up there, dude. I
You were
was
playing with the bar stool.
Yeah, that's dude.
I had to. That's all I had. That's all the
Yeah,
material
right.
I
You were
had.
getting laughs. You were fucking shining.
Dude, it was
tight.
But yeah, on that show. But like in terms of making like Christianity silly, there's like some, I mean, that's the thing is like there's so much of Christianity and Christian culture that's like worth making fun of. Like just Christians, the way we talk about sex before having sex. It's like, what? And like the idea that I still have a twin bed, which is real.
That was
like,
the
that's-
funniest thing too. You're like, oh, benefits. I still have a twin bed.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I don't need
everyone
to
was-
spend money on a queen.
So
I can just
funny.
get it. I just get a twin, and it's just like stuff like that. Like we do crazy stuff. Like I haven't done this in a joke yet, but I should. But it's just the idea of like I think I've told you this before, but like I saw this guy who he was talking to his daughter on the phone, and he was a manager of a grocery store that I was at. You could just tell by how he was dressed, and he like cleaned up a mess, and he was just being just so kind to like the people he was talking to that I saw. And I'm like, what a great dad. And then I saw him on the phone, and he wasn't wearing a wedding ring, and I was like, oh no, they got divorced. And divorce in Christianity is like horrific, terrible, the worst, right? So I was like, oh no, he got divorced. And then I was like, well, hold on, don't be so negative. You don't know that he got divorced. Maybe she's dead. You know, like literally in my head, I was like, maybe his like
That's
a better
so funny that that's more light of
as
a
his wife.
situation.
Fingers crossed.
I was
Fingers
like,
crossed.
maybe
Fingers
she's
crossed.
literally. And then in my head, I was like, well, that's psycho. Because basically, it was like, hey, like you go to his daughter and you're like, hey, do you want your parents to be divorced, or you have to kill one of them?
Yeah.
Which one? Like, I basically was like, kill the mom. Like that's that. I'd be like, that's better than them getting a divorce, which is obviously not true, but that's just how we immediately think about divorce in Christianity, which is crazy. That's insane. And like, we need to be able to like notice our own thoughts and make fun of them more. You
Yeah.
know, because like that's a also the fact that Christians think it's crazy to not be a Christian That's also insane. Like, why? What? That's just so weird.
I remember being raised religious and finding out there was another religion.
Another religion? That's
Yeah.
weird.
Another
you're just
religion,
like,
like
oh, wait.
infinite
You're like, are
other
we at war?
religions?
They could have an answer? Oh, wait, way more Muslims on the
Dude, that's because of birth,
planet?
okay? Look at conversion rates.
Yeah.
It's different.
I was raised very much not religious. The only time we indulged in religion was at grandma's house when
Yeah.
we would visit, and we would have to go Sundays.
Sure.
But my mom was very open-minded, just like, hey, I'm almost like basically a hippie too, where it was a lot of like alternative medicine, alternative
Right.
thoughts, spiritual.
Sure.
I mean, which is still something I carry on to this day, but at a different level and point, I guess.
Right.
My religious belief is, yes, the universe, yes, karma exists, do right, treat people as they are, like, as you would want to be treated. I mean, yeah, unless you're burning bridges, then you can fuck off. Because that's
Right,
when
that's-
I'm like, because I give everyone pretty much a chance,
Right.
but I also feel like I have a decent read on people where if it's not an energy or a vibe that I want to be a part of, like, I will no longer invest time, energy, or effort into that situation. Just because I'm like, I can walk away and be by myself and be much more less, like, you know, less inconvenient to certain situations.
Yeah, 100%. I think that makes sense, and I think it makes sense why people act that way. I mean, basically everyone acts that way to a degree. You know, like Al Qaeda doesn't want to hang out with you either.
No,
You know, like they're like I want to hang out with other people. But the thing is, like, that's the problem. Where like I was like. I pushed back against Aspie one time because Aspie was saying something like, he's like, I think everything's relativistic, and I was like annoyed. Maybe just by him, or I was annoyed at something at the time. So I was like, oh, well, that's stupid. I was like, that's obviously dumb. And like, I kind of went in super hard on it, probably harder than I should have. But I was like, oh, that's a really dumb thought. Because I mean, just like the idea of relativism, although it is like a super cool idea of like, you have your thing, I have my thing. It's like, if you draw that to a conclusion, like when you said, unless you're burning bridges, it's like, well, why? What's wrong with that? Like, who cares? Like, what's wrong with that? What is wrong with these? And that's where I take the conversation in high school when I was way more combative about it. And I'd be like, what's wrong with murder? And people would be like, well, society can't last. I'm like, why do we need a society? And it would just get down to like, why do we need society? And that's when people would bail from the conversation and they'd be like, oh, you're insane. And I'd be like, no, I think we need society, but you just didn't give me a reason as to why we need society. Like, the reason why bottoms out on the relativistic side of things. And that's where like, because that's interesting, but kids would get upset at me in high school for sure, because I'd be like, "There's nothing wrong with murder," as it to get them upset.
And that's just pushing buttons. That's a normal human interaction,
which I did way more when I was younger. Way more. I'm so much more chill. But
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Is there any questions that you have for me that you're curious about? Josh Creedon. We've been ending an episode, or at least wrapping up the episodes with, do you have any questions?
No question back for you.
Me?
For you.
Sorry, I got distracted for a second. There was
okay.
people have been trying to get a hold of me.
Listen, they can wait.
Yeah.
Shoot, I was gonna try and think about. Well, in terms of, it's like dead air. That's bad. In terms of thinking about like growing up non-religious, and then your grandma, was she religious or was it? So like, what did that look like in terms? Was it on your mom's side, your dad's side, and what was their childhood like?
So my mom was adopted.
Oh, okay.
By my grandma.
Okay.
Who was raised. Honestly, I don't even know what her religion was to begin with. I mean, I couldn't tell you because it was like. I was such a young age.
Yeah.
It was Sunday school, the typical. I didn't invest. I don't know. But that was it. Right. You know, I never went. And then when I got older and I was raised with like my independent thoughts.
Right.
But
like your mom wasn't raised religious or anything?
She was, but she rebelled as well. Like when she was like 14, 15, I think she like ran away from home. like I said, she was adopted, so it was very much two different people.
Right. Yeah.
Not being on that same path, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, being adopted, you already have probably emotions, feelings, things that you have, abandonment, and whatever it is, like that you haven't even addressed yet. So when you're getting into your teens and probably feeling emotions and things you don't know how to deal with.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure, I was like 16. She's like, I'm out. I can't do this. And it wasn't until years and years later that they made men's and whatnot. But
so would you raise your kids non-religious?
I would raise them think about everything.
Okay.
Like, I mean, independent thought. I think is one of the biggest problems in like today's world is the whole I read on the internet, I read this, this is my belief because I read an article, you should believe this because I read that. And I'm not saying, but question everything. You know, like even like you have the things that you believe in and bring you joy and whatever.
Right.
But there's no way that you can just commit to one thing, you know? I don't know. I mean, on certain topics.
That's kind of the problem is like, in terms of committing to one thing, it's like, well, if you take, like, if there's all these thoughts, right? And then like put them on a spot in a graph and you had to, your own thought is your own line, which is like the average of these thoughts. Whatever. You still only have one line, which is the commitment to your own existence.
Direction.
So like you can still only believe one thing, even if it is a hodgepodge of a bunch of other things. You're mending it together to make the one thing, which is your belief system.
For sure.
You know, so it's kind of impossible to just believe, to not believe one thing. You can just take together and like, you know, make a custom made religion, which is still fundamentally, I think, built up of the same components. That could sound wrong, but like a lot of the same components. But yeah, I think like just committing to one thing dogmatically without looking at other stuff is definitely an issue.
I guess, I mean, I would just say keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Or an individual thoughts. Like, like think about the way that makes you feel.
And the way your kids rebel is to like get into a cult at like 15. And
they're like, we're closed-minded.
Fully focused on that. Like,
that would be.
You're going to raise a bunch of rebellious Klan members, dude.
That's like the funniest way to rebel. We're like, damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're supposed to be
like wearing bow ties,
independent thoughts,
bow ties with like gelled hair sideways, and like going to church.
Follow some guy in Texas who plays to be God.
Right, exactly. Oh shite, who was that guy? Waco.
Yeah,
that guy, dude. My buddy one time,
David Kresh.
Shout
out David Kresh. He's a big listener. Big fan.
He crushes, dude.
David.
I had a buddy watching a doc on Netflix.
David, thanks for listening.
And he was like, I was like, what were you watching? He's like, it's a really interesting doc about this thing in Waco or in Texas. I'm like, what's it called? He's like, it's called Wacko. I was like,
yeah, that guy was
dude.
a fucking wacko.
I was like, no, dude, it's called Waco.
No, that guy was a wacko.
Yeah, he was a wacko. You're right. But I just thinking of that situation with like a burning, like the compound burning, and then he's like, the documentary is called Wacko.
Man, this guy,
like it's about a clown.
That guy was a crazy clown.
So funny, dude. Yeah, that's funny.
Well, I mean, I think I covered the topics that I wanted to get to.
That's fantastic.
Is there anything else that
there's nothing
else that you feel you need to share?
I came in with
like I said, I appreciate you stopping by here. I'd come in. We're open.
Thanks for having me here.
It was a good convo.
Good convo.
Follow him on all social medias.
Exercise the demons.
What is that? What is this?
I don't know. This is exercise your demons too. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people would think of that as a euphemism for masturbation. But
I was a big time listener. Tanya Harding, she's a big fan of our show as well.
Oh, cool.
Big fan of being honest, even though
she
whole identity is based off a lie.
She acts honestly.
She acts honestly. Yeah. She's like the Trump of ice skating. You know. The Donald Trump of ice skating.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, you could see it.
He would stab Joe with the skate. I see him doing that.
Take it to the knee.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It was an ankle, but yeah.
That's okay.
Olympic drama.
Ankle is the knee of the foot.
It's true.
Wow, this music's so cool.
Thank you for listening. If you have listened this far, we appreciate it. Come In, We're Open with Austin Langley.